Tim, product manager for Alcon Software Limited, and I've been with the company since about 2004. As Jürgen's mentioned, worked closely with colleagues in Germany and responsible for project managing the English language version of Arcon Evo, and also bringing to market a range of sort of titles for both sort of professional and home use. So what I'm going to do now, over this course of this session, we're going to sort of demonstrate Arcon Evo. I'll try and sort of do a sort of an overview of Arcon Evo rather than sort of get into the sort of the technical details of it, so you get a sort of a taste of how it works. So this is your construction mode, as I said earlier. This is obviously where you draw your floor plan, etc. On the left hand side here, you've got all the various different construction tools. So by clicking on, for example, the wall tool here, this will bring up a load of different options on the right hand side here. So clicking on this walls option here will bring up a load of different sort of preset wall types, etc. Everything you see could be customized. So same with windows, for example. So click on the windows, it brings up a whole range of different sort of window types. So clicking on, say, window here and then opening up the component editor, we'll bring up a detailed dialog box here with a number of different tabs for changing the style of the window, size, etc. So again, I won't go into sort of detail here, but you can see here you can really sort of drill down into sort of a sort of fine detail, certainly with a lot of the you know, into doors, windows, etc. So again, so doors, very similar to windows. You've got a load of different door types on the right hand side here. Different stair types, which I'll go into a bit more detail a bit later on. Balconies, supports, roof types, dormers, which obviously I won't show you yet until I've actually placed the roof. So dormers there. Again, skylights, different landscaping tools, which again I'll go through in a bit more detail a bit later on. There's different dimension types here. Obviously text, various different drawing tools for adding adding additional detail to your plan, different guidelines, and then different 2D symbols as well. Okay, so there's a whole range of different sort of tools here. So this is your construction mode. If I click on the 3D furnishing mode, this will basically take you into the 3D mode here. So this is where you can start to interact with your model, and this is the mode where you can sort of furnish your model with, you know, materials, furniture, objects, etc. Okay, I'm going to go back to 2D mode now. There might be a little bit of delay, obviously, with internet connection, so I'll try not to go too fast between each thing, just to sort of give it time to catch up. Okay, so what I've got here is an incomplete ground floor. So what I'm going to do is make some changes to the walls, put a new wall in, put a stair in, and then create a second floor. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is click on the editing tools here, and I'm just going to stretch out using this wall length tool here. I'm just going to stretch out this external wall to this guideline on the right hand side here. I'm going to do the same for this external wall below, and then I'm going to click on the wall options here. I've just created a wall type earlier on. I'm just going to click on here and then place this wall in position. So as you can see here, I'm just using the guidelines to actually you know, position the wall in place. There's a number of ways of sort of planning out your drawing. You can use guidelines or helplines to sort of peg out where you're going to sort of draw the walls, or you can use, and that's my sort of preferred method, using guidelines. You've also got numeric inputs. You can obviously enter walls numerically. You could also, I mean, if you've got an existing plan as well, for example, from a DXF or DWG file, or from a drawing on a you know, as an image file, a JPEG or a bitmap, for example, you can also import that in, and that kind of works as sort of like a background sort of where you can actually overlay you'll and sort of draw over top of the actual background layer. So you can sort of very quickly sort of draw out your plan using a background image. So what I'm going to do is just draw this external wall position. So as the walls connect, it will create it as a room. This is obviously an important part of Arcon, where it recognises that obviously when the walls connect, it will recognise it as a room. So you can then sort of carry on with the drawing. Just going to click on the internal wall here, and then place this wall in here. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you can use numeric inputs. I'm just going to type in 1.7 meters, and you can see the wall there draw to 1.7 meters. I'm just going to click OK, and that will draw it to 1.7 meters. Okay, I'm just going to pick up the wall length tool again, and then just drag that across to this interior wall to the right here. Okay, I'm just going to flick to 3D now, so you can see the 3D model of the change I've just made. Okay, then I'm going to go back to 2D and then start to place some windows and doors in position. So I'm going to pick up the window option here, and then click on Own Windows, and I'm going to click on this window type here. Okay, so you can place windows obviously freely into your wall. You can place them at a set distance, but you can also place windows sort of between sort of midway between 2 points. So I'm just going to place a window this top external wall here. So again, you can define the opening, and then left click, and then that window will be drawn in position. Okay, do the same for below. Sorry, Jonathan's just asked me, can I move slowly in 3D? Yeah, that's my concern actually, because it is a little bit of, I was just testing this earlier, and it is a slight delay, so I'll try and go as slow as possible in 3D. So, so I'm just going to draw a window in position here. And I'm going to pick up on this smaller window here, and then place a window in this downstairs toilet here. Same for doors. I pick up on the door, click on here, and then place this door on this internal wall that I drew earlier. So again, when I left click the door, I can then obviously define the opening where the swing, and then left click to position. Okay, so before I go back to 3D, I'll try and keep it in 2D as much as possible before I flick to 3D, as there is a bit of delay there. So, so what I'm going to do now is position, place a stair in position. So I'm going to click on the stairs option here. I'm going to pick up on the L-shaped stairs here. Now obviously, before you place a stair, you can open up the dialog box and you can make sort of relevant changes to its construction type, for example, how it's viewed in 2D. Number of steps, if it has railings or not. Okay, so I'm just going to place the stair in position here. It's over 3 clicks. 1, 2, okay, 3. Okay, so I'm going to flick to 3D now. Hopefully you can see my 3D. So what I'm going to do here is just change that stair. So I'm just going to click on that stair, go into the component editor. Again, like I say, you can change obviously the size and dimensions of the stair. I'm just going to change the construction type to this one here, and then I'm just going to take off those railings. Click none here. Okay, so you can see the stair in position here. I'm just going to close that dialog box now. Whilst I'm in 3D, you can also work with, so if you want, for example, change sort of various elements, you can use the inline measurements. So basically, if I click on this window here, you can see here it brings up a number of different dimensions for that window. So the width, the height, the position, the sill height, etc. So if I click on that measurement there, you can hopefully see it on screen, but it will change the size of that window as you're changing it in the input field there. So you can very quickly sort of make changes on screen to save you sort of having to sort of go in and out of dialog boxes. And that can be applied to other elements, for example, your doors, your windows, your walls, stairs, and so on. So it's a really sort of quick method of making sort of direct changes to construction elements. I'm going to go back to 2D now, which hopefully you can see on screen, back in 2D. So what I'm going to do now is now insert a new floor. So through the floors menu, I'm going to click new upper floor. And then within here, I can then transfer various elements across onto the second floor. So what I'm going to do here is basically transfer all the walls across, and I'm going to transfer all the windows and doors across as well. So I'm just going to OK that, and then I'm going to go back to 3D just so you can see it. Obviously what it's done here is create a duplicate of that ground floor. Okay, so what I can do now is then obviously take out any unwanted bits. So for example, remove that door there, remove this door at the front, at the back here, sorry, and so on. And obviously, so from within this mode, then once you've created this second floor, you can then obviously make changes to the internal walls. So if I go back to 2D, you can then obviously take out walls and then extend walls across and put new walls in and so on, very easily. So what I'm going to do here is just create this. I'm just going to edit this front bit here, and actually just carry this bit of wall at the top along here. So I'm just going to click on the wall length and just stretch that bit of wall across. Okay, and then I'm just going to actually go back to my floors menu and just have this second floor as the active floor visible, so it's easier to actually see. Okay, and I'm just going to create a cutout within this interior wall here. So I'm just going to click on the Windows folder here, and then I'm going to go to the cutout section here. Go to openings, and I'll click on this arched option here, and just place that in position there. And then I'm going to click on here, open up my component editor. It's going to change the sill height to 0. Change the width. And just come out of there. Okay, so you can see that it's just changed. Go back to 3D. Okay, so you can see here that I've just created a sort of cutout within that internal wall there. So I'll just need to change if I just click on there again and just change that sill height to 0. And then bring that arch down. I could obviously change the height of that as well. I'll just gradually increase the height of that to about 2.2. Okay, so I'll just come back out of there and I'll just go back to the 2D mode. I'm just going to place a window on this front bit here. So just go back to the window again. Click on here. Position that window midway between those 2 points. Okay, so I'll just go back to 3D again so you can see what I've done. So because I've just got this first floor showing at the moment. So I'm just going to go back to the floors menu and just create all floors visible. So now you can see you've got the ground floor in place and then a floor above. Okay, like I say, you can obviously change internal walls to your requirements, but for this example I'll just keep them as is. Okay, I'm now going to go back to 2D mode and now create another floor for the roof to sit on. So I'm going to click on the roof tool here, and this will bring up a number of different roofing options here. Okay, I'm just going to click on the freeform roof type, and I'm going to click on this automatic roof detection. This basically kind of works out where, how the roof should sit on your your floor plan you've created. So I'm just going to use this tool and then access the roof editor after I've placed it. So I'm just going to place this roof in position. Just left click and then go back to 3D. You can now see that I've placed this roof onto the floor above. Okay, so I'm just going to select the roof layer, click on roof, and then go to the roof editor, and then from within here, this will then, you've got a roof editor where you can then start to make changes to the roof itself. So I've just got a window just come up now presenting the roof editor. Okay, so from within here, I can then, for example, change this to like a gable end, this side to a gable end. I can do the same for the other side, change that to a gable end. And I'm just going to do the same for the front as well. So then change that to a gable end as well. So you can very quickly make, you know, sort of changes to the roof. Obviously, this is sort of a basic, you know, fairly sort of basic roof design, but you can sort of create some fairly sort of complex roof designs. You can also merge sort of multiple roofs together using the sort of roof blending tool. But within here, you could obviously change, you know, for example, the roof, you know, the pitch of the roof, the roof side height as well, from within this dialog box here, very detailed dialog box here. Roof overhang, and you've got other settings as well for, like, you know, adding roof ridge tiles and guttering and sort of construction thickness and so on. Okay, so whilst now I'm in 3D, so that's so it gives you some idea of sort of, you know, drawing from the ground floor up. Obviously using an existing project there. So now I'm in this mode here. Now what I'm going to do now is just demonstrate, you know, how quick it is to apply different materials to the model itself. So if I click on the materials option here, the Arcon comes with a number of with thousands of different textures, materials, and so on. But you can also, you know, apply your own material simply by importing it into the catalogue. So if I just click on the Alcon one here, and then click on, for example, brick, and I'll select a brick type, for example this one here, and then just start dropping it in, start applying the brick to that lower floor. Okay, I'll just come round the side here. That's okay. Zoom out. And now I'm going to add some timber cladding to the top as well. So I'm just going to come down here and then click on here and then start to apply sort of a timber finish to that second floor. Okay. Again, I'm trying to go as slow as possible in the 3D. Okay, so you can obviously, and again I'll do the same for the roof. So click on the roof, and then apply a different roof tile. You've also got various editing tools as well, so you can edit material. You have a dialog box where you can sort of obviously apply different lighting effects, sort of finishes to the material itself. But you can also, you've got a number of tools here to sort of make sort of direct changes to the material. For example, scaling the texture. So you can see here I'm just scaling this brick texture up. You can move the texture about, material about, just to make sure, you know, you get visually looking okay, and also rotate as well. So there's a number of different options there to sort of play around with the material itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, whilst we're on the sort of furnishing mode, I'll place some objects in position as well. So if I just go back to 2D, this is generally better done in 2D because it's easier when actually placing the objects in position. So if I just go to the ground floor level, and then I'm going to click on the objects here, and then I'm just going to place some objects in position. So I've just got some here. I've sort of put there ready. So I click on the sofa here. I'm just going to drop this sofa in position. So I put one over here, an armchair, drop one there, nice rug, stick that there, TV, spin that round, put the TV in the corner there, and then put the table in position here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is flip back to 3D, let me just show you the active floor, which is the ground floor. So you can see now I've just placed those objects in position. Okay, so you can very quickly, you can obviously change the size of these objects, and you know, a lot of some of these objects you can sort of apply different materials to as well. One thing to point out is also an interface to the sort of 3D warehouse online, where you've got access to online objects sort of created through sort of SketchUp and so on. So you can actually import those directly into your plan as well, which is really useful. It's basically an extension of the objects that already come with the program itself. So so that's a really so it's very you know, it's a very easy so placing objects and playing around with furniture, you know, sort of layouts and so on is really easy to do. So if I come back out of here, I'm just going to show you all floors again. And sorry, go back to 2D and then go back to my roof here. So I'm just going to place some skylights into the roof now. So again, clicking on the skylights option here, I'm just going to pick up on one of these skylights and then drop a skylight in position. I'm just going to do the same for the other side and then drop one in position there. Okay, go back to 3D, so you can now see those in position. And again, you can change the size of these on screen using the online measurements. Okay, so I'm just going to click on here and just apply some timber construction as well. So we've got timber construction shown. So if I go to view timber construction and show in roof, and you can start to apply sort of show your roof with the actual timber construction itself. So if I go back to the timber construction tab, I'll put add with soffit, so that adds that in. So you can see here you've got a lot of, you know, you've got a number of sort of settings you can use. You can switch on and off and so on. So it's quite a detailed number of options there for the roof itself. I can also turn the roof surface off, so just by showing the timbers exclusively. So you can see that it kind of gives you some sort of idea of a layout. It's sort of obviously fairly basic roof construction here. So come back to here and then just go to show. Okay, number of different viewing options as well. So go back to that view menu. You can, if I click on the transparent building, you can sort of see inside of your house that's facing you. This is quite useful once you have sort of furnished your house. I want to actually see how it looks. So you can obviously, you know, use that method, but you can also use a hide facing walls method as well. So that will basically remove the facing walls for you to actually see inside. There is also you can also display 3D section as well by defining a section in 2D will then display, you know, the sections in 3D as well, so you can sort of cut through your model and obviously see the inside that way as well. So if I just come back to untick that. Again, on the, so whilst we're in furnishing mode, you can, like I say, you've got a number of different sort of landscaping options as well, but you've also got quite a nice tool here which is called a terrain brush. So you can basically apply sort of a landscaping effects to around your building just quickly, just sort of spraying it on. So if I just come out of this grid view here and then click on terrain brush and click on ground area to the right, and I'll just click on paving, for example. So you can very quickly sort of spray effects onto around your model. And so on. And like I say, back in 2D you've got a number of different options here for defining sort of, you know, area, sort of a plot and so on, and also using the terrain tool here. You can you know, if your house is on a hill, for example, then you can show that effect in Arcon as well. You can also superimpose sort of background image as well. So if you want to see how your house is going to look on your plot, for example, if I go to project, go to background, and I'm just going to load background picture. So I'm going to click on here. I'll just select one of these standard ones here. I'll click on, I don't know, let's have a look. We'll click on this one here. We'll open that, and then you can see how, well, gives you, let's say, it gives you some idea of how it's going to look within your plot. Okay, so once you've so if I go back to 2D. Apologise if I keep flicking back and forth, but so there's so I mean, that's just showing you the basics, obviously, but you've got a number of different, you know, for like dimensioning your plan, you've got a number of different dimension tools here. You've also got an exterior edge dimension tool as well, so you can show all the edge dimensions. You can switch those on and off. You've got, like I said, a number of different drawing tools here, so you can apply sort of, you know, a more sort of advanced level of detail to your plan, should you wish to, and obviously text and so on. So that kind of covers the sort of basics there. But what I'll do now is show you the so I've kind of just, you know, I've sort of run through the 2D construction mode, sort of the basics of sort of furnishing mode, but then we also have a plan elements mode. So this basically allows you to then start to sort of build up a selection of sort of elevation section views, sort of prior to then sort of placing them onto a single sheet, which is done in this mode here, sort of plan layout mode here. So what I'll do is click on plan element mode. This basically allows me to then select what view I want to add. So it's got right, top, bottom, and so on. So right is basically taking the view from the right of your screen, left from the left, bottom from the bottom, and so on. So let's do it from the right. So click here and then click OK. Okay, so this will then show you an elevation of your building from the right hand side. Okay, I'm just going to save my project. Okay, so once you're in this mode here, so like I say, you can start to build up a number of different views. Now you've got a number of different tools on the right hand side here, again for adding further detail and so on, but you've also got some tools here where you can actually sort of hide lines, but not removing them completely. So what this allows you to do is basically tidy up your you know, your elevations or whatever. So if I click on the hide line here, then hover my mouse cursor over the lines, the unwanted lines, I can then remove these easily from the elevation. So you can very quickly sort of clean up. If you want to put them back, then I can basically put them back again using the show line. So what it basically allows you to do is remove the lines, but not completely, but not actually detaching it from the sort of main floor plan itself. So if you make any sort of changes to your floor plan, it'll update, you know, your elevation views automatically. So let's just go back to here, just remove these lines here. I'm just going to put that line there back in. So I can zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. Come out of there and then click on that one there. So that's one view, for example. So now I'm going to create another one. So new plan element. So I'll click on here, but I'm going to do another one from the bottom here. Okay, so click OK. Now I've created a second view. Okay, so same again. So I'm just going to remove any bits and pieces I don't want. Remove that. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to create another one, so new plan elements, and then I'm going to click construction view, and I'm now going to just sort of start to now I'm going to create a ground floor plan, view. So what I'm going to do now is click on the floors manager. I'm just going to make that as the active floor, visible floors selected. I'm just going to take off the bits I don't want, for example the guidelines, the drawing border, the landscape, and then close that. So that's now created a floor plan view there. I've just got those dimensions in place as well, so I'll just remove those for the time being. So let's just untick those as well. That's removed as well. Okay, so I'm starting to build up. So I click on the this drop down list here. You can start to see a number of sort of views being built up. So once you're happy with the number of views you've got, I can then click on this plan layout mode. Actually, sorry, one thing I didn't mention. If I could click back to, so go back to the bottom one here, elevation. So as I mentioned earlier, you've got 2D drawing tools as well here, so you can apply your own sort of detail to the actual elevation view as well. So you can start actually sort of adding hatching detail and so on, to sort of to your own sort of requirements. So if I click on plan layout mode, I'm now going to create a new plan just using this assistant here. So click on next, click on next again. I'm going to change that to A1 sheet. Click next. I'll keep the scale same scale as a project, where you can actually define individual scales for each view should you wish to. Next again, and then use one of those title blocks. So that's now created an A1 sheet in this plan layout mode. Okay, so on the right hand side here you've got a catalogue which has got all the different tools that you can use to then for making changes to your to the sort of different views and so on. But you also got a plan elements tab as well. So here it will basically list what the views you've just created. So the right at the bottom, the construction view. So once you've sort of created a list, you can then drag these across onto your sheet. So I'm going to click on construction view. I'm just going to pull across onto there, and again same for here, and drag it onto there. So I'm just sort of freely placing them at the moment, but you can obviously line them up properly using the various different 3D edit menu. You can align them up accurately, and then the same here. So once you've started, so you can, as you can see, you can start to build up a set of drawings. You can obviously, within the plan layout mode, you can also create obviously multiple plans, for your drawing, and then start to build up sort of a number of sort of sets for your for your project. So like I say, any sort of changes you then make, for example, in the plan element mode. So for example, if I make a change to this elevation here, so let me just go back to here. If I remove, for example, that skylight, I'll do the same here. That'll update it into plan layout mode as well. So it's all linked together, and the same for the floor in the construction view as well. If you remove a window in your main sort of floor plan, that will obviously update the elevation as well, as long as it's still linked. So that kind of covers the plan layout mode. So if I go back to again the 2D mode, just to sort of touch base on sort of import export options. So you've got a number of different, as I mentioned earlier, you could import DXF DWG. There's an assistant there that allows you to do that. Image files, scan assistant, which is basically, as I mentioned, you can actually load in a sort of background image for them sort of tracing over to make the whole process a bit quicker if you've got access to the existing plan. And again, with the export options as well, you've got a number of different options here. You can see from the list here, you've got IFC, Collada, you've got Google Earth, you've got DXF DWG, and you've also got the O2C object format as well. So basically, I can export my project to O2C. If I just demonstrate that quickly, so okay, we'll just save that, and I'm just going to open up what I've just exported player, or through sort of WebGL player as well. So this basically gives you, this is ideal for, if you're an architect, for example, you want to send your project to a client, they want to see the project in a 3D view without actually having the software installed. So this is ideal for that, and it's again, you've got various different sort of viewing options and so on, and you can even sort of walk through the model as well, and actually so you can actually sort of explore, examine the inside of your room in more detail. But so it's a really sort of powerful communicator. I mean, this is and this is one of the really sort of a great selling point to a lot of our users, when they actually see the export option. It's a really useful tool to a lot of people. In addition to just sort of creating just images of your project, you can create the O2C model.
Alcon is a leading international provider of software and related services to the architectural, engineering, construction and retail industries. The group also delivers digital marketing solutions to the flooring and interiors industry. Our software is used by a wide range of participants throughout the building lifecycle, including the initial 3D design, structural engineering, cost estimating, project management, site and property information management. Our interior marketing solutions are used by the majority of flooring manufacturers in Europe. Through the visual power of 4D BIM planning and 5D BIM cost estimating, we are delivering improved ways to share planning information in a common data environment to help close the communication gap among all involved in a project, such as clients, designers, contractors, subcontractors and suppliers. Over the years, our software has been used on landmark projects of all shapes and sizes around the world, including the Space Shuttle in USA, Durban Airport in South Africa, Warsaw Metro in Poland, much of London's skyline including the Shard and London Eye, Petronas Towers in Malaysia, the Reichstag in Berlin, Benora Point Highway in Australia, and the Bosphorus Bridge in Turkey, which links Europe and Asia. Our award-winning solutions have evolved with ongoing input from our users, so that the software we develop supports the way our customers work and helps them to increase productivity, improve cost efficiency, and deliver projects successfully. We operate throughout the world with a combination of direct presence and a growing network of reliable channel partners. Get in touch and talk to us about how we can support your business. Alcon, building on technology to deliver digital construction solutions around the world.